As he scrubbed one sock in the day's supply of well water, noting that his stitches had not held and the hole in the toe had reopened, he considered, once again, the problem of the 100 things, as he had every day, every hour of every day, for the past 3 years. The wash bucket was a thing, as was the work shirt he'd just scrubbed, as were the boxers. He knew some minimalists counted all of their clothing as one thing, but not the serious ones. So the shirt and jeans and boxers he was wearing right now were 3 more things, and the windbreaker slung over the post behind him was a 4th. Those were simple. Socks, though. Socks were more complicated, drawing him into the tricky land of plurals and singulars and naming, where the line between reason and rationalization was the disputed border in nothing less than a war for his soul. That battle had raged ever since he resolved to pare his possessions down to the 100. His books, he had decided then, were not one library. They were dozens and dozens of things, so he donated them all to a home for indigent seniors and bought a Kindle. But the pins and needles and tiny spools of polyester and the needle threader, they were fairly elements of one sewing kit. Those choices were the stuff of certainty, an easy conscience, true to the organizing principle of his life and the purpose of his days, the slim reed he'd grasped during the worst of times, the redemptive positive he'd built on a simple catechism of negatives. Don't want, don't acquire, don't require, don't affect, don't hurt. Ah, but socks. Back when he was whittling down his final list, struggling to find 8 more things he could live without, he decided, not without guilt, that his 4 industrial-strength boot socks were 2 things, not 4, that a pair of socks was a pair of socks rather than a pair of socks, just as a pair of boxers was not, in fact, a pair. That decision helped him get down to the 100, but it still gnawed at him some days. Today was one of those days. What with one sock almost beyond repair, yet its mate still good and sturdy. He could take out his iPhone, that indispensable thing, and order another pair, but that would leave him with 2 untenable choices. Either worsen the planet's landfill problem by throwing a perfectly good sock into the black trash bin, not one of the 100 things, since it belonged to Riverside County, and dragging it down the dirt road, or hang on to the good sock to couple with one of his others when its mate wore out, which, in the meantime, would leave him stuck with 101st thing, so that was no choice at all. Maybe if he biked into Idlewild, he could buy a pair there and find a Goodwill center and donate the good sock. But in his heart he knew that would be phony solace, that someone else would just throw the widow sock in the garbage. The very thought reminded him that when the socks originally arrived, he had read on the label that they were 10% something called polypropylene. Such were the problems on Charlie Waldo's mind when he heard the tires in the distance, turning off the asphalt and onto the dirt road that serviced his 12 acres of wooded mountainside. Nobody but Rico the mail carrier had been on Waldo's property in the years since he'd moved here, and then only when a package wouldn't fit in the roadside box. He tried to remember whether the last time had been just over or just under a year ago, when Waldo had ordered a sack of feed for his chickens. He realized that was the last time he had spoken to anyone aloud, and he wondered whether he'd have to talk to Rico now, or whether a polite thank you nod would be enough. Then he worried what the mailman might be carrying, because the last thing Waldo needed was a thing.